This is Caffeine Coils, and I'm Deanna.
And I'm Jenny.
All right, Jenny, what's our hot topic?
Our hot topic for today, listen, I got big notes today. I got printed notes. This is like a serious one. I'm just kidding. So I wanted to talk about HVAC in different applications.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so we're used to seeing it heating and cooling our house, our schools, our office buildings, all that stuff. What about all the different applications that HVAC is used in?
Okay, I'm excited to hear about it.
All right, so this list is lengthy, but I'm going to go through all of them. So the first one, we talked about this on a few episodes ago with Shane McKnight, and he talked about with Holden, and he was talking about data centers and how Atlanta has become like a hot spot for data centers. So I want to talk a little bit more about that. So there's the cooling for data centers is actually critical in preventing overheating and making sure that the servers are at optimal performance. So they usually use computer room air conditioning and liquid cooling systems for them. So I didn't know that data centers created so much heat, but apparently they do. So they require a much stronger application of HVAC.
Yeah, that's why people say ChatGPT and other AI generated type things are bad for the environment because it takes so much cooling power for the data centers that are running it, basically.
I think that's like one part of AI that we always think about, like the benefits and how easy it's made life and how it's automated a lot of different things for us. But I think that's a negative that people don't always think about when they think about AI. Another one is ice skating rinks. I would have never thought that, but I actually used to work with a guy who drove a Zamboni. Do you know what a Zamboni is? So the Zamboni is like the machine that when they tell everyone to get off the ice and then they take this big thing that they drive across the ice to smooth it back out. That's what the Zamboni is. Oh. But I know we have a couple of ice skating rinks around town, but I can't really even imagine. It says they maintain the ice quality for hockey arenas and ice skating rinks. And then some high-end resorts and spas now have snow rooms for cold therapy treatment, which I actually have never heard of one of those. So maybe that'll be your next adventure. Going to a spa with the snow room.
Back to the ice skating rink, though. Stephen Locicero, that has been on the podcast with us before, he plays hockey.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wonder if he could come on and tell us more about that.
Maybe.
Stephen, if you're listening, we're curious about the ice skating rinks and how they're cooled.
So they have like cold rooms, like for cryotherapy and stuff like that.
It says snow rooms, so I'm not super familiar with those, but now I want to go look it up and see.
Yeah.
How that's so different than maybe just like a cold. Because what is it, the cryotherapy or whatever?
Yeah, cryotherapy, you're kind of like in like a chamber.
And it's just super cold, like incredibly cold. And you just do it for a few minutes at a time?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that? What are the benefits of that?
Reduces inflammation, that type of stuff.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So the next one is indoor vertical farms and greenhouses. So this is for not just the temperature, but humidity and CO2 levels that are optimal for plant growth. It helps create perfect environment for hydroponics and aeroponics.
Oh, okay.
Which I actually have like a tiny little hydroponic counter garden, like for herbs and stuff. And the technology is pretty cool. Like it all grows in water. So I can only imagine what that temperature and humidity level looks like and how that's all controlled. The next one, which I actually have a little bit of experience with this one, is clean rooms and pharmaceutical labs. Used in medical biotech and semiconductor industries to maintain sterile conditions, requires HEPA filtration, precise humidity control, and positive negative air pressure. So I used to work for a company that manufactured gas distribution products, and we actually had a clean room in the manufacturing facility just specifically for medical grade gas regulators.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was very much controlled. You had to go, you had to wear certain things, and there was kind of like a room before you went in the clean room so you could get changed and make sure that you were keeping that environment super sterile.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I never even thought about that either.
Yeah, that one actually like reminded me, and I was like, oh wow, I forgot about that experience. Underwater tunnels and submarines. So that one kind of reminds me of the space episode we did, which by the way, they just came home.
Oh, yeah.
We're recording super early, so we can talk about it. But the astronauts finally made it home. But so the submarines, it says it's HVAC is essential for air circulation, humidity control, and oxygen regulation in confined spaces. Used in structures like channel tunnel and deep sea research facilities. I wouldn't have thought about that in submarines, especially.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought about that either.
This one actually is kind of cool. Wine cellars and cigar humidors. Climate control prevents spoilage of fine wines and cigars by maintaining consistent temperature and humidity. Have you ever been to like a cigar lounge or something and they have like a special room where they house all of the cigars?
I mean, I used to go to a liquor store that had a cigar room.
Yeah.
And I never went in there because I don't smoke cigars, but
I recently went in one with my husband because he wanted to get a cigar, and you can definitely feel the temperature and
Really?
the humidity difference when you step foot in that room. Yeah, it's really, and like there's signs to be like, keep the door closed and stuff.
Interesting.
But yeah. So, and then the wine cellar, of course, is to help keep the wine. I don't have much experience with that one.
Yeah.
Museum and art preservation. So they have to regulate the temperature and the humidity to prevent the paintings and sculptures and ancient artifacts from degrading. Yeah.
That's another thing that you just don't think about. Like, you don't think about what goes into that. You just go there and you enjoy the art or the like artifacts, the things on display, and you don't think about what it takes to keep everything preserved.
Yeah, for sure. We just recently spent some time in Mexico, and we went through some of the historic landmarks there, and it was interesting to see that there was no HVAC. A lot of their buildings are open air. Like there's we went to a few places where it was almost like a garage door on the ceiling, so they could open and close the roof, if you will. And then a lot of the historical places were kind of just either partially open on the ceiling and like walls were open and things like that. It was really interesting to see. But you could definitely tell in certain scenarios where, the weather had taken its toll on some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
Did they have like
preserved.
a sunscreen or anything like over the top to filter out the sun?
No, not normally.
Dang.
They
you wore
need
your
some
sunscreen.
Extra SPF, yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, so MRI and medical imaging rooms. MRI machines generate extreme heat and require specialized HVAC for cooling. I've never had an MRI, so I actually didn't know that. But non-magnetic chiller-based cooling systems are used to avoid interference with imaging equipment. So, which I also just recently learned about MRIs is that they're magnetic. So anything metal can be highly dangerous during those procedures. Have you ever had an MRI?
I don't remember. I don't think I have had an MRI, but my husband just got one the other day.
Oh, so you know this then?
He said it was so hard to fit in there. He felt like he could barely fit in the tube.
I've heard
people he's not a big guy. He's
claustrophobic.
Yeah.
I've heard that's an issue for some people. The next one is amusement parks and indoor ski resorts. Roller coasters and ride room controls need temperature regulations for safety and performance, and indoor ski resorts like Ski Dubai use massive HVAC systems to maintain sub-freezing temperatures. This really makes me think of, we obviously don't have a lot of indoor ski resorts around us, but it makes me think of like the Great Wolf Lodge and different indoor amusement parks where they probably have water attractions of some sort, and how they regulate the humidity and the temperature there. I'm sure that's difficult.
I don't care about the humidity. I want to know how they control the bacteria. Because I would like a few samples from there before I agree to stay.
Well, that's what we need. We need some more of the, how they have the drain pan treatment stuff. We need a treatment for all that water.
Or maybe they got iFlow going through the pools.
All right, the next one is, and we've talked about this one, aircraft and spacecraft HVAC. Planes rely on pressurized and climate control systems to maintain safe cabin environments. NASA and SpaceX require precise HVAC systems for astronauts' life support in space. So if you haven't already checked out our episode on HVAC in space, you should, because that one has a lot of more information on that topic. But
because those astronauts that were stuck in space, we were talking about that then, and we're recording this now in March, so they just came home. So thankfully they're back already, but that was a long
I think it was
trip.
9 months or 8 months or
it was like 9 months. It was supposed to be like a 3-day turnaround thing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wild. I can't imagine missing Christmas and Thanksgiving and all of that and just being...
Well, you also sent me an article that they got compensated very well for their troubles.
We can talk about that one on a bonus episode, can't we? All right. Underground bunkers and doomsday shelters. They rely on air purification, dehumidification, and controlled ventilation for long-term habitation. Some include nuclear, biological, and chemical filtration systems. I feel like we need to do a bonus episode on that, too, because I need to know more about all of that
That's
stuff.
some billionaire stuff right there.
I just want to know.
Yeah.
I just want to
know. Some Mark Zuckerberg,
Jeff
Bezos, Elon Musk.
All right, right back to reality with water treatment plants and sewer systems.
Yeah, that's more our speed.
More our pay grade. Specialized HVAC systems control toxic fumes, humidity, and odors in industrial wastewater plants. I bet that one's pretty important. Just like the odor control in a sewer system and wastewater. I'm thankful that we have tradesmen who work at those places, and I hope they're very well compensated for that, because it doesn't sound like a very fun job. Poultry and livestock farms regulates temperature, humidity, and air quality to ensure animal health and productivity, used in poultry hatcheries, dairy farms, and pig barns. So even our animals are getting the benefits, reaping the benefits of HVAC these days. I'd love to know more about how they do that. Underground mining and tunnels. HVAC is used to remove toxic gases, regulate temperature, and provide fresh air in deep mining operations. I wouldn't have thought about the toxic gases, but that kind of makes me think of radon and how we sometimes, we're testing for radon in our homes and things like that. Just based on, we live above the surface, so I can't imagine what gases are toxic and need to be fumigated underneath the surface.
You know what, though? This is probably dumb, but I didn't realize that we were still doing that. Mining. I thought we were done. I thought we found everything we needed already. We're still doing that. We still have people in a mine shaft?
I'm sure somewhere.
We can't send a robot down there?
I bet they are now. I bet there's at least some, but I don't know. Robotics is really expensive, and that technology is still progressing.
Yeah,
I think. So the next one's a fun one. Cruise ships and yachts. HVAC ensures comfort in varying climates while managing moisture control and air filtration in enclosed marine environments. So I wouldn't have thought about it, but I went on a cruise right around a year ago, and each cabin has their own thermostat. So just imagine, I can't even imagine where they store like an HVAC unit that big, because not only do you have these tiny little cabins that you're, probably easy to heat and cool depending on the weather, you also have these big, almost like ballrooms and restaurants and auditorium type spaces that you're also having to cool and heat. So I'm sure that's a pretty complex system.
Yeah, that's true. It's probably all underneath, right?
Yeah, it would have to be. It would definitely, I don't know. I'm not the expert on that, but I would think that it would be underneath. So the next one's a fun one. Movie and TV production studios. Sound stages need silent, precise HVAC to avoid audio interference while maintaining comfort for actors under hot lights. So I actually did some work with a customer. This is kind of a little different, but I did some work with a customer a few years ago that creates like the trailers that actors and actresses go into on set to either get ready or eat, take downtime, whatever. And they were utilizing mini splits on these trailers to keep them temperature controlled and comfortable for them.
That's smart.
So that was, it was like a really cool application.
Yeah.
That kind of ties into the movie production stuff. Medical cannabis and CBD processing facilities. HVAC regulates temperature, humidity, and ventilation for optimal plant growth and drying and curing processes.
Oh.
Yeah, another thing that I don't think we wouldn't have thought about, but they definitely have to have a certain temperature and humidity level and all that stuff in order to produce that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I know that market has been growing. Brewery and distillery climate control. We talk about like beer can cold.
Yeah.
So fermentation requires strict temperature and humidity control to ensure consistent alcohol production. HVAC also helps prevent mold growth and equipment from overheating. I would have not thought about fermentation, but there's definitely a strict recipe that you have to follow, and temperature and things like that to be able to produce that kind of stuff the way that it's meant to be produced. So that one's an interesting one. Theme park attractions and special effects. I wouldn't have thought of this. Used for fog effects, simulated weather, and climate-controlled indoor attractions. I mean, if you think about it, if you've ever been to Disney or Universal Studios, any of those, they all have some type of ride that has a special effect that more than likely has something to do with our industry. Mm-hmm. Isn't that wild? I mean, even some of those rides are like enclosed and indoors. So you'd have to have some kind of ventilation and cooling, heating, depending on the season.
What was that one called that was at Six Flags? Did you ever go there, Six Flags? It's like you go in and there's like all the little monsters. Pretty sure, Scott, do you know what I'm talking about? Monster Plantation.
Okay, I have to admit that I'm not a Six Flags girly, so.
Oh, wow.
I've probably been like twice in my life.
I think when I was younger, I was definitely way more about it. I've probably been like 6 to 8 times.
Yeah.
Total.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh, okay. That was what I thought of when you said like indoor attractions, because you go into this little tunnel thing, and I'm sure there's some special effects. I don't really remember, but.
Yeah, it also mentions haunted houses with temperature drops, mist, and wind effects. Mm-hmm. That's true, because like sometimes they will put you in a room in a haunted house where it's like much colder or much hotter or something like that. I've done probably more haunted houses than I have Six Flags.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, military and defense HVAC applications used in military bases, naval ships, and combat vehicles for cooling high-tech equipment and maintaining breathable air. I've actually, have a few friends who've been in the military in some form or fashion, and some of the places that they have to travel to and end up are wildly different climate-wise than what their body's used to. So typically they do have some form of HVAC just to help them get a little more acclimated to the weather differences. I mean, I'm sure there's specific things that they have to do for all of the equipment. So that one's a good one too.
Yeah, another one that you don't really think about too much too.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you're going to talk about water chillers for cold plunges.
I think you're the
I just got one.
Did you? Okay, so tell us about that and how that works.
Well, originally I got a cold plunge tub that was very insulated, but I have it in my basement, but it's not cold enough for what I needed. So I'm so cheap that I just got a little like mini freezer, one of the small, like, I forget the size, but anyway, you can buy bags on Amazon and fill them with liquid, like for preppers,
Okay.
So you could fill up bags of water for emergencies, or, you could use it for parties, that kind of stuff. Anyway, I filled it up with water and I froze it. And then I would put the frozen water bags
Into
in my
the
thing. But it wasn't exact, It would be like, I need 2 bags sometimes, and.
depending on the current conditions of the basement.
Yeah, my dad was like, let me get you a chiller for Christmas. So he did. And I did get it set up, and it's a lot better because I can actually set the temperature. It has like a little filter thing on it.
So does it circulate the like water into the chiller, gets it to the correct temperature, and then circulates it back into the tub?
And it's constantly circulating. Even if the
Okay.
chiller's not on, it's constantly circulating the water. So it's really nice to have.
Interesting. I like that.
And now I can do an exact temperature.
Okay. So how's it going? Give us a cold plunge update.
Well, I'm still doing it twice a week.
Okay.
And I do it for 6 minutes each time.
Okay.
And it's going well. I haven't broken down into the 40s, but when it was outside, I had no choice. But to do it when it was in the 40s, my time in it was a lot shorter then. But yeah, I stay at about 50 degrees, and that's my comfort zone for it. The other day I started, it was weird because I actually had it up a little bit higher than normal. I had it at like 54, and I started shivering so bad at the end that it was so weird because I had not experienced that before. I don't know what it was, if it was just something to do with my body that day or.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't have much experience with it. I've never done it, but I've listened to you talk about it, so I'm intrigued. But
what's funny is people are always like, just take a cold shower. Well, first of all, that's not even cold enough.
Yeah.
That's like the water that's coming out of the tap is like 60 degrees. And then also it's kind of like, think of like the difference between getting into a hot tub versus getting in a hot shower. Like a hot shower does feel good, but it's definitely a different feeling than getting into a hot tub. So that's kind of how I compare the two. But I will say it helps me so much with my recovery, and anytime I have any achy joints or sore muscles, it helps so much. My dad actually got into it as well, and he's not having to take some of his medications every day because it just helps him so much with inflammation. He does it every morning now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
I want to hear more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a fun little game for us to play?
I do. I have underrated, overrated for you.
Okay. All right.
Smart thermostats.
Underrated.
I agree.
Listen, I'm addicted because, my son, we have a 2-story and we have his own system. So we have 2 thermostats, and my son spends part of the time with us and part of the time with his dad. And sometimes Gatlin will walk upstairs and he'll say, it's so hot, something's wrong. And I'm like, nope, it's just because no one's been up here. But I do feel like it is so eco-friendly. It sends me alerts if there's like a drop in the indoor air quality, I get an alert. If it's time to change the filter, I get an alert. If something's going on, like maybe the float switch got tripped and the whole system's off, I get an alert. And I love it. I love being so connected. I love being able to schedule when I'm going to be home. And even if I'm off schedule, if there's motion detected in front of that thermostat, it's still going to kick on.
Yeah.
So definitely underrated for me. I don't know how I ever lived with a non-smart thermostat.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same way. I used to think, I don't need it. But now that I have it, it is nice to be... sometimes I'll be on the couch and I'll be like, it's too cold in here. I can't even get up. I'll
bump it up from your phone.
Bump it up a couple notches. Preventative HVAC maintenance contracts. I know how you feel about this.
I would still say underrated for this too, because I know I talk about this a lot. I change my filter once a month. But I also think that just having like that relationship with your contractor And your contracting company, they know you, they know
Yeah.
your system, they've got your data and your information. And so, and I also know that some of these contractors move you to the top of the list when it's 95 degrees outside and 100% humidity. And all of a sudden, you know, your unit's leaking refrigerant and it's hot or whatever the case may be. You get bumped to the first of the list. So,
and it's just one less thing to worry about.
yes.
Tankless water heaters.
Okay. So I feel like I can't say over or underrated on this one because I've never had one.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But that's like goals. Like I would like to have one. And I think just simply for the space saving reasons, I think they would be really nice to have because you know, our water heater sits in this cubby in our garage that they, you know, clearly built whenever they built the house. And all I can think sometimes is like, man, if I just had a tankless water heater, I'd have so much, like I could put like a shelf there and store other stuff.
What about 4-day work weeks?
Completely underrated.
I agree. Would you do a Monday through Thursday or a Tuesday through Friday?
I would do a Monday through Thursday.
Yeah.
But then I think about like how busy everything is on Saturday. Like if you go to the store on Saturday, it's so busy because everyone's off work. So if everyone had a 4-day work week, would it still be like crazy busy? Sometimes it's so nice to just take a day through the week.
Yeah, or you could do like Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
You could.
And then you'd have that weird middle day off.
You could.
To do things.
I think that I don't know, especially as a working parent, it can be really hard to find like work-life balance, especially when every other week it's Red Ribbon Week or Read Across America or Grinch Week.
Which is so funny. We did not have all this stuff when we were growing up.
And then too, like now you throw in like there's a snack calendar. So now you have to like, you have to buy a snack for the entire class. And it's like, the teacher sent home, I'm going to tell on her real quick. The teacher sent home the snack calendar the first day of the month. And my kid's snack day was the second. And I'm like, I have to go to the store tonight to get this snack? Like, what? I mean, I did it because I don't want the kids to go hungry, but
yeah,
it's still like, yo, can I get like a 2-week notice? Like, something. Help me out here. I'm a working mama.
This is a little bit off topic, but it's so funny how kids' lives are nowadays because when we went to school, we didn't bring a water bottle. You went and drank out of the water fountain, and God only knows what that tasted like.
I know.
It could have been one of the hot ones. Remember, there would be the hot one on that hall, and you'd have to avoid it.
Choke it down. Yeah. Like, you didn't have a choice. No, I know. We didn't. I don't know. And then now they post, like, the Lost and Found has all these water bottles that these kids leave behind. And it's like, it's an incentive now for us. Like, okay, if you remember your sweatshirt and your water bottle every day this week, you get a prize. Like, yeah. It's so hard. I bought so many sweatshirts over the last 365 days. Like, it's ridiculous.
All right. What about AI-generated art and design?
Oh, gosh. So overrated.
Overrated. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely tell, like, I think some of it's, like, funny and can be useful in certain settings. Yeah. I know we just spent some time at a company event at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, and it was fun. It was really fun to see like the AI generated images that they utilize in that setting, but you can still tell, like, 6 fingers on the hand or something like that, and it's
fun, but I think it should just be used as a tool. I don't think it can really replace human intuition when it comes to art and design.
I agree. I think that's the case with a lot of AI, not just the art and design, but
HVAC trade school versus traditional college.
So I think HVAC trade school in general is underrated versus traditional college.
College is overrated.
Yeah, I do. As someone who has a 4-year degree and is going back for my master's, I still think college is overrated.
It is, but it It's like you got to do one or the other. But I do agree, trade school's definitely underrated. I think we're getting out of that though. We kind of talked about that with the Robert Ashby from CAG. So
Yeah, and I think we're seeing a lot of Gen Z starting in trades and being a lot more interested in trades. I know just from my local school district experience, they're definitely circling back to being more open-minded about trade school. And I think that's because we're in such a labor shortage. Just recently had a plumber out to our other house, and when I got that bill, it was culture shock.
Yeah.
But that's just what it costs these days. So that expertise, you're paying a lot for that expertise.
Yeah, that's true. Because even though it only took them 10 minutes to diagnose your issue, it took them years of experience and, learning on the job and all of that to learn where to look and what it could be and all of that. So that's something to keep in mind. Same with designers, by the way. Electric vehicles. I know we call about this, but
I know this is risky. I know I've said this before. I drive an electric vehicle. Not necessarily to save the planet. It's just because I like it. It's personal preference. And not having to go to the gas station is also like a major plus. I think I kind of land in the middle here. I think it depends on what specific EV you're talking about. Because I think with any car, whether it's an ICE vehicle or EV, there's ones that are overrated and there's ones that are underrated. So I think it depends. It's a very subjective topic, because like, well, what's the longevity and what are you trying to accomplish with a car, and what's the benefits, the pros and the cons. I mean, what you might need out of a vehicle is different than what I need out of a vehicle. So I think that one's so subjective.
Yeah, it definitely depends on your lifestyle, and if I didn't have to go to the gas station, that would be great.
But I will tell you, like, an electric car is not good for road trips. Like, so I mean, it just depends on how your life is set up and what other options you have. If that's going to be your only car, like how far is your commute, and what are your plans if you do need to go on a road trip, and are there enough charging stations to get you there? Is there enough of your patients to go around to stop and charge? So I think in the current EV state, it's very subjective.
Okay. What about buying extended warranties?
Overrated.
Yeah.
I feel like for the cost of extended warranties on a lot of stuff now, I mean, we're kind of in this weird place with like appliances and a lot of different things that it's kind of like made to be just like repurchased every 5 years.
Yeah.
The quality is dwindled.
I have Apple Care like on all my devices, and I'm like, you know what? I could save like $27 if I if I cancel the Apple Care, because I mean, I've never used it.
I was gonna ask you if you'd ever used it before.
No.
I've never had it before, so
I
don't
know though,
like,
as soon as I cancel it,
yeah,
I'm gonna drop my iPad and then I'm gonna shatter the screen.
Yeah.
But then I'll just get it again and tell them it happened. Just happened. Happened the day after I got my Apple Care back. Now I don't know if you can do that or not once you cancel it.
I don't know. I haven't ever had it, so I'm not sure.
I'll have to find out. That's all.
All right. Well, this was a good one.
Yeah. Thank you for telling us all about HVAC
Absolutely.
and different applications.
All right.
That's all we have for today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe.